Today, we are diving into one of the most incredible stories ever told. It's a story about faith, about unimaginable courage, and about a miracle that literally defied the laws of nature. This is the story of Prophet Ibrahim.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. Really think about it. Could you stand in front of a raging inferno, knowing you're about to be thrown in, all for what you believe? It's a heavy question, right? And it's the beating heart of the story we're getting into today.
All right, so our story starts with a young man who's on a serious quest. But this wasn't a journey across lands. It was a journey of the mind and of the spirit.
I want you to picture this. You're in a place where everybody worships statues that they carved themselves out of stone and wood. They actually believe these lifeless things control their destiny. But there's this one kid, Ibrahim, who just isn't buying it. He looks past all these statues and instead looks up to the heavens, searching for something real.
And his search was just pure, simple logic. He'd look up at the stars, glittering in the night sky, and think, okay, maybe that's it. Maybe they're my Lord. But then he'd watch, and as the sun started to rise, the stars would just fade away. And it hit him. If something can just disappear like that, how can it possibly be the eternal creator? It just doesn't add up.
So he keeps going, methodically. He sees the moon, bright and beautiful, and he asks the exact same question, is this it? But, just like the stars, he watches as the moon eventually sets, vanishing from sight. He's literally using the process of elimination. Okay, not the stars, and not the moon either.
And then, finally, he looks at the sun. The most powerful thing you can see in the sky, right? He must have thought, this has got to be it. But, as evening came, the sun did the same thing. It disappeared below the horizon. The pattern was undeniable. Anything that rises and sets, anything that appears and then disappears, well, it must have been created by something else. It can't be the creator. And just like that, through this incredibly simple but profound process of just watching, Ibrahim came to this revolutionary conclusion. The true Lord isn't a star or a moon or a sun that comes and goes. No, it's the one unseen power that created all of them. The one who is constant, who is eternal, the one who never ever disappears.
Now, figuring this out for yourself is one thing, but actually acting on it in a society that believes the complete opposite, well, that takes a whole different level of courage. And this is really the heart of the conflict. You've got Ibrahim's truth on one side, there's only one all-powerful, unseen creator. And on the other side, his entire community, his friends, his neighbors, even his own father, who literally carved these idols for a living. They're all worshiping lifeless statues of stone and wood. This wasn't some abstract debate for him. This was personal.
So, Ibrahim waits for the perfect moment. There's a huge festival, and the whole town is away celebrating. That's when he makes his move. He walks right into the main temple, all by himself, where all the idols his people prayed to were just standing there in these silent, dusty rows.
You can imagine the scene when everyone came back. They found their god smashed to pieces, and they were furious. They drag Ibrahim out, demanding to know what happened. And in this moment of pure genius, he just calmly points to the one big idol that he'd left completely untouched and says, hey, don't ask me, ask him. Go on, ask the big one, if it can even speak. Boom. With one simple sentence, he laid bare just how powerless their beliefs really were.
His logic was airtight. You couldn't argue with it. But pride is a funny thing. When people are faced with a truth that completely shatters their whole world, sometimes they don't respond with reason. They respond with anger. And their anger, well, it led to the ultimate test.
They had no comeback. They couldn't prove him wrong, but there was no way they were going to admit he was right. Their pride was just too wounded. So instead of thinking about the truth he just showed them, they chose violence. They decided to make an example out of him.
And they went all out. We're talking a massive bonfire, so huge that the flames were leaping high into the sky. It was so incredibly hot that nobody could even get close to it. In fact, they had to build a catapult, a launching device, just to be able to hurl him into the center of that blaze from a distance.
Can you even imagine that? You're being tied up, placed onto a catapult, and aimed at a roaring inferno. For most people, that would be the definition of terror. But in that moment, Ibrahim's heart wasn't filled with fear. It was filled with complete and total trust. He wasn't begging them for mercy. His reliance was on something much, much greater. And what happened next? This is the absolute climax of this unbelievable story. As he's flying through the air, heading toward what everyone thought was certain death, everything changed.
In that very instant, a command was given from the creator of the universe, a command that spoke directly to the fire itself. And it said, "O fire, be coolness and safety upon Ibrahim."
The result was just stunning. What they had intended to be his fiery grave, a symbol of their rage and power, became the exact opposite. The very fire that should have incinerated him in a second was transformed. It became a place of peace, of safety, almost like a cool garden.
The crowd, the very people who built the fire, could only stand there and watch in total, stunned silence. There he was, right in the middle of the blaze they had so carefully constructed, completely and totally unharmed. The fire, this ultimate force of destruction, had absolutely zero power over him. It was a miracle that nobody could deny.
But that incredible miracle, the fire, it was really just one chapter in his story. Ibrahim's entire life became this powerful testament to his faith, and it left a legacy that has inspired people for thousands and thousands of years.
His journey was just packed with tests that were, in many ways, even harder than the fire. He was forced to leave his home, his family, everything he knew, all for the sake of his beliefs. And then came maybe the most profound test of faith imaginable. He was commanded to sacrifice his own son. It was an act of supreme submission that was, in the end, rewarded. His whole life was just one test of devotion after another.
So, what do we take away from a life like that? Well, a few things really stand out. First, that true faith isn't just something you think or say, it's something you do. It takes action. We also see that real conviction demands incredible courage, and maybe most importantly, that trusting in a higher power can give you the strength to face any kind of fire, whether it's literal or metaphorical. And that's the thing. The fire that Ibrahim faced wasn't just some historical event. It's a really powerful metaphor for the fires we all face in our own lives, right? The intense pressure from society, the criticism we get for our beliefs, or just those personal challenges that feel completely overwhelming and impossible to get through.
And that brings us right back to where we started, but with a whole new perspective. So I'll ask you again, what are the fires in your life? What are the big challenges that are testing your convictions? And when you face them, where do you place your trust? That's a question worth thinking about.